Hello, my name is Summer Janae, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to share with you a really good tip, and I think you're going to want to wait and make it all the way to the end to get this tip. So, this video is for people who are either selling their house or is having problems selling their house. So, let me give you a little bit of background first before I give you the tip. So, um, as I mentioned in a previous video, I was a military spouse for more than 20 years, and over the 20 years, we PCS or moved more than 12 times. And so, in the 12 times, one time it included selling a house by myself because my spouse was deployed. And then in 2017, I had a break in service from my job that I had at the time. And while I had that break in service, we had three houses that were on the market. And they were on the market because I pretty much gotten fed up with one of our property managers we had in Texas. I just felt like he was, every time when we turned around, every month, it was something needed to be repaired. It got to the point where I was asking, like, well, who did you let in my house? And they're tearing up stuff, holes in the wall, everything. But at that point, I was just done. So I decided, okay, well, we're gonna sell these houses and just not get out of this, whatever it is. The market at the time we were scheduled to move wasn't right in terms of selling the house and getting a profit off of it or breaking even. So by the time we had this really bad tenant and really bad landlord, if you will, property manager, sorry, um, I was pretty much fed up. And then so I think the guy that was over the property or running the property for us at the time presumed that he would be the person who was selling the property. But just based on the interactions I had with him over the past, I would say 90 days leading up to the decision to put the property on put it up for sale, his attitude and just his whole demeanor got really nasty, and it turned nasty. So I'm making this video and sharing it with you so that you don't get into a similar relationship with a property management organization that may cause you to experience the same thing. So based on the bad blood that was brewing with that particular property manager, I ended up contacting, we had a house in North Carolina. I ended up contacting that property manager and informing her, hey, we're looking, when that tenant's lease is up, we're looking to sell the property. We don't want to rent it out anymore. And then at that time, we still had the house we had in Alabama that we were looking to end up. It was currently on the market. And so, what we ended up doing, or what ended up working for us, was if you're having problems moving one of your houses, or you're not getting the foot traffic you're looking for, I highly recommend, and you may need to do a cost analysis to figure out if it's in the best interest of you to sit there and continue to pay the mortgage every month and it's sitting there, or especially if you have equity in the property and you're looking to offload that property sooner than later. The one thing I saw that allowed us to begin to move the properties and move them fast, because at that time, we only had my husband's income, and we had moved into on-post housing for the very first time. So for those of you who don't know, when you move into on-post housing, whatever your housing allowance is, they take the entire thing. So not only were we paying um, the on-post housing, which took the housing allowance, But then with three properties on the market, we were paying what would equate to like four mortgages. It was a struggle. He didn't know it was a struggle because he was deployed, but I'm telling you, it was a struggle. So if you're in a situation and you need to offload your house, I'm going to say number one, get a realtor that you trust. If you have someone that maybe coming up with some things that need to be done, and make sure you trust your realtor. That's step number one. Step number two, this is a big one. Look at how, kind of factor and look to see how much or how long houses are sitting on the market where you are. And if you're beyond that typical sitting on the market range, then you need to make a decision. Are you going to pay? You don't have to pay it up front. It's going to come out of the proceeds for your house if you have enough equity in your property. But do you want to continue to have your house potentially sitting and sitting empty? Or are you willing to employ this trick I'm getting ready to share with you? Not trick, it's a tip. Um, so I noticed when I started off with the smaller house first, um, and with that smaller house, I asked my realtor because I was tired of coming down on the price. I asked my realtor in North Carolina to put an incentive, haha, put an incentive to the seller of the house and offer them an extra 1,000, 3,000, or whatever it is you're going to offer them. Kind of look at what they're getting in terms of what their cut of the fees for whatever state you're in. And if you are willing to offer whoever gets the house sold an extra incentive, we start to notice, or I start to notice, the foot traffic increase because in addition to just selling the house, they're getting an extra cut off of the proceeds of the house. But again, you're going to have to do the math to figure out, do you want to sit there and hold that property, or is it worth you offering that extra $1,000 or the extra $3,000 for them to incentivize the person who's selling your house to kind of move out and start driving traffic to your house? Because if your realtor isn't like a go getter, if you will, then you're gonna have to do something to make sure that, and even if he or she is a go getter, maybe they're just not the person to bring that buyer to your property, but you're gonna increase the foot traffic by offering the extra incentive for someone to, other than your realtor, if you will, enticing them to help push your house. So after that sale in North Carolina, after that incentive was offered, I was like, well, shoot. So then we ended up offering the same incentive for the house we had in Texas. Then that house ended up selling. And then we ended up doing the same incentive for that house we had in Alabama. So I had a house closing, I want to say it's either July or August, then one in September, and then one in October. So that's the tip I want to share with you. If you are in a situation where you need to sell your house and it's just not moving, that tip will help to get the foot traffic you're looking for and incentivize the other realtors to show your property over those that are not offering the extra incentive. So again, like I said, you need to decide what's in the best interest for you and your situation. And for me in that situation, especially since we had moved somewhere and I'd had a break in service and I was not working, it was in my best interest to offload those properties and to try to hold on to them when the income that was coming in wouldn't support for mortgage payments. So that's what I have for you today. I hope if you're trying to sell your house that you have the best, that you're able to leverage this tip I just shared with you to give you another option to potentially get your house sold. And it's actually the tip that we used the last time we sold our second house that we had in Texas, um, that we moved into. So I've seen it work numerous times. I know it's worked. I may witness that it works, but you have to again decide if you're willing to pay up front to have it moved, have them have it to help you move your property, or if you're going to continue to let your house sit there if it's sitting and the market's a buyer's market and not a seller's market, then you might want to try to employ that tip to help you get your house sold, especially if you don't want to leave the area and you still have ties to it by way of a house, and you're having to look for somebody to rent it for you, and you don't want to get in that rental game. Offer the extra incentive. That is all I have for you today. Good luck with selling your house and getting it sold and all of that good stuff. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Go be great.